I still remember the taste of the air that morning. Dry, metallic, older than language itself. The desert stretched endlessly before us. A golden sea, broken only by fractured stones that once held the name Babylon. We had followed the Euphrates south for days, our camels burdened not by gold, but by curiosity. Professor Hallam, our leader, swore there was something buried beyond the recorded ruins, a site unmarked on any map. He called it Etmanenel's shadow. I called it madness. The sun had not yet risen when we began digging. Our torches flickered in the grey of dawn, smoke drifting like spirits reluctant to leave. Every strike of the shovel unearthed not mere sand, but time itself, pottery shards carved with sun discs, fragments of a lost cult. The locals who guided us refused to go near after sunset. They whispered of Shamash, the sun god, and his temple that devoured the living. We laughed at first, the kind of laughter that masks unease. May we found it, a staircase descending into darkness, carved from black basalt and lined with sigils that shimmered faintly under our torchlight. The air grew colder, impossibly so. It carried a hum, not of wind, but of something living within the stone. My hand trembled as I brushed away dust from an inscription. 3 circles intertwined, the mark of the 3 suns. I had read of it once, a forbidden sect that worshipped light as both creator and destroyer. Their rituals were erased from every tablet. Now, they were staring back at me. HALIM ordered lanterns to be lit. The light barely penetrated the corridor ahead. As we stepped down, I felt as though the earth was swallowing us whole. Each footstep echoed too long, as if the chamber beneath us was waiting, listening. Walls bore reliefs of faceless men kneeling before an orb of flame, their arms raised in agony. The craftsmanship was precise, perfect, too perfect for human hands. We descended 30 steps before the passage opened into a vast hollow space. I froze. The air vibrated, torches flickered violently, and for a moment I thought I saw movement, shapes forming within the smoke, bending like silhouettes trapped between worlds. The sound was faint, but unmistakable, chanting, low, rhythmic, ancient. No human throat could sustain it. Halim shouted something behind me, but his voice seemed to bend and fade, as though the chamber itself swallowed his words. The chanting stopped. The silence that followed was alive. Then, from the far wall, a glimmer, a single line of light piercing through the stone, steady and deliberate, as if beckoning. I stepped closer. My heart pounded so violently I could feel it in my palms. The line of light traced across the wall until it reached the carving of 3 suns. Then, slowly, impossibly, it rotated. The wall moved. A hidden door of solid stone shifted with a moan that shook dust from the ceiling. Behind it lay only blackness, but I could feel warmth, faint and pulsing, like the breath of something sleeping. Hallam's lantern shattered behind me. The others screamed. For a heartbeat, the chamber was filled with brilliance. White, searing light bursting through the cracks of the door. I fell backward, covering my eyes. When I opened them again, I was alone. The torches were gone, the staircase gone. Only the open door remained, glowing faintly, and somewhere within that impossible light, I heard a whisper. The first sun rises, the watcher wakes. When my sight returned, I realized the air itself had changed. It carried a weight like breath, held too long by the earth. The sand that had clung to my boots moments before was gone, replaced by smooth basalt that pulsed faintly beneath my feet, as if alive. I called out for Halim. My voice bounced back to me, slower than it should, stretched thin and hollow. Nothing answered except the slow drip of unseen water. The glowing doorway ahead waited impossibly narrow, tall as a god. Its edges shimmered with a faint spectrum, the light sliding like oil across stone. Every instinct begged me to flee, yet my body moved forward on its own accord. Each step pulled a memory from my mind. Laughter around the campfire, the smell of coffee, the hum of the diggers. By the time I reached the threshold, I could not remember my own last name. Inside, the chamber stretched wider than reason. Columns carved with spiraling suns reached into darkness so vast the torchlight was swallowed whole. Along the walls, Hundreds of tablets floated in mid-air, slabs of clay, suspended by invisible threads of light. They rotated slowly, revealing lines of cuneiform that burned and rewrote themselves every few seconds. Knowledge alive, shifting learning. One tablet drifted toward me, stopping an inch from my face. Its surface rippled like liquid. I read what I could before the script changed again. 3 gestures: bind the sun. 3 gestures: unmake the flesh. The mortal who mirrors the god becomes light itself. The letters glowed hotter until the clay began to crack. The tablet fell, shattered, and from the shards rose a thin line of flame that coiled into the air like a serpent. It circled my wrist, warm but painless, then sank beneath my skin. A mark appeared there, 3 small circles interlocked, the same symbol I'd seen on the wall outside. The ground trembled. From somewhere deep below, stone ground against stone, like a titan shifting in its sleep. The door behind me slammed shut without a sound. In its place appeared an image, a relief of faceless figures bowing before a colossal orb. Their hands performed 3 distinct movements, first to the heart, then to the eyes, then to the sky. A voice like molten metal filled the chamber. Do not complete the third. I froze. The words came from everywhere and nowhere, vibrating through bone and blood. When I turned, I saw them statues I had mistaken for pillars, men and women turned to ash stone mid-ocean. Their faces melted in silent screams. Their arms were lifted halfway, eternally halted between gesture and God. The flame under my skin pulsed once more, brighter, urgent. The chamber filled with heat and the taste of iron. I realized then this place was not a temple built for worship. It was a trap set for those who sought divinity. And as the echo of that metallic voice faded into the hum of the walls, I understood why Hallam and the others had vanished. They had completed the third gesture. I do not remember choosing to move forward, only that I was already walking when awareness returned. The chamber's walls seemed to breathe now, exhaling soft plumes of dust and light. Each exhale dimmed the torches clutched in the petrified hands of the statues around me, until their flames were nothing but embers, and the chamber itself guided my way with its faint internal glow. The mark on my wrist pulsed like a heartbeat that was not my own. Every time it throbbed, the floor beneath me rippled, stone behaving like liquid, responding to that strange rhythm. At the far end of the hall, beyond the suspended tablets and faceless effigies, I found a narrow spiral staircase carved directly into the rock. Its descent vanished into black mist. Above the entry arch was inscribed a single word: Nemu. In Sumerian myth, Nemu was the mother who birthed the gods, but beneath her name, someone had carved a warning in a different hand. Beneath her womb, the sun weeps. I hesitated. Behind me, the air had grown still. No wind, no sound, no breath. Ahead, a faint hum rose from the depths, rhythmic like distant chanting. And beneath that chant, something else, a slow, deliberate drumming, not made by hand or instrument, but by the pulse of the earth itself. I began my descent. The further I went, the more the steps seemed to stretch, as though the staircase was coiling into infinity. Walls became slick with condensation, and a strange light flickered far below. Neither fire nor moon. Each breath burned colder, and the smell of wet clay and decay thickened until I could taste it. At the base of the stairs, I entered a cavernous hall. It was circular, too perfect to be natural, its dome lined with mirrored obsidian that reflected my torch in countless distorted fragments. In the center stood a pool, wide, silent, and black as spilled ink. The chanting was clearer here. It did not come from human throats. It resonated through the water, as if the pool itself was singing around it. 12 figures knelt, their bodies preserved in impossible detail, though they were made entirely of hardened ash. Each one held a tablet pressed to its chest. The tablets shimmered faintly, still alive with script that moved like veins of light. I knelt beside one and brushed away the dust. Its eyes, though blind, seemed to follow my motion. The tablet's inscription burned momentarily bright enough for me to read. When the first sun fell, the god of light wept. When the second rose, man stole his tears. The third shall burn both into one. The pool stirred. At first, I thought it was my imagination, ripples from my breath, perhaps. But then, from its depths, came bubbles of molten gold that rose and burst soundlessly. And in the reflection, where my face should have been, I saw another, featureless, tall, and crowned in fire. I stumbled back, my torch shaking. The chanting stopped. Silence fell like a blade. Then the voice returned, the same molten tone from before. You have entered the chamber of echoes, where light remembers every sin. My torch extinguished. The pool erupted in radiant fire, golden liquid twisting upward, forming the shape of a colossal, faceless being, made entirely of light and smoke. Its voice cracked the air. The second sun rises. The walls rippled outward, as if the chamber itself was exhaling its soul. Statues shattered into dust, and before the blinding flare consumed everything, I felt the mark on my wrist burn white-hot, as though something beneath my skin was trying to crawl out. Light consumed everything. For a moment, I thought I had gone blind, but then the brilliance dimmed just enough to see its source. The figure of light towered above the molten pool. Neither man nor God, but something in between. A being of geometry and flame, its edges folding endlessly upon themselves. It looked down at me, though it had no face. The mark on my wrist pulsed violently. Lines of light shot from it, tethering me to the creature. My body stiffened, my limbs no longer my own. Visions poured into my mind. Babylon at its height. The priests of Shamash performing the forbidden ritual. The sky burning as three suns aligned. They had tried to summon enlightenment. Instead, they brought ruin. I saw the city melt in divine fire. Saw people frozen in mid-prayer, as their souls turned to light and stone. The sun god's voice broke through the visions. Mankind devoured my fire, and in return, I devoured their names. My torch reignited on its own, though I had no hand left to hold it. The god's flames reached toward me, not to burn, but to mark. The heat seared deeper than skin. It reached thought, memory, guilt. I understood, then, that I had become the next vessel, the one meant to carry his light back into the mortal world. When the light faded, I stood alone at the edge of the pool. The chamber was silent again, but its walls glowed faintly with the same sigil that now covered my arms and chest. 3 interlocking suns, burning softly under the skin. Every step echoed too loud. Each breath felt borrowed. The air shimmered as if reality were dissolving. Then I saw them, my team, or what was left. Their bodies were still, half merged into the obsidian floor, their faces trapped in an eternal scream of awe and terror. Their eyes glowed faintly, reflecting me. I tried to run, but the temple shifted. The pool had dried into a mirror of solid gold, and within it I saw what I had become, a faceless silhouette made of flame, moving in rhythm with my breath. The voice returned, quieter now, almost compassionate. You have looked upon my dawn. You are the witness. My reflection reached out from the mirror. When its hand touched mine, the world folded, sand, stone, and sky collapsing into one endless light. I don't know how long it has been since that moment. Perhaps hours, perhaps centuries. I awoke outside, half buried in sand where the temple once stood. The ruins were gone, as though the earth had never been disturbed, but every sunrise since has felt closer, heavier. Watching, I've written this so someone will understand, so you'll know not to return to that valley. I can still hear the hum beneath the ground. Sometimes, in the reflection of glass or water, I see the 3 suns burning behind my own eyes, and when the first ray of morning touches my skin, it whispers the same words I heard beneath the earth. The third sun will rise again. If you find this letter, burn it. Do not seek the sun temple. Do not follow my steps. Light remembers every sin.
And if you ever see 3 suns in the sky, run, because that means he's awake again. There are other temples still buried under the sands. Would you dare uncover them? Subscribe for the next forgotten legend.